Good morning, and thank you for joining the Rise and Mobilize webinar, the pitfalls to avoid while you're building your omni-channel experiences. This webinar is being hosted by IBM and Streebo, a premier IBM digital business partner. My name is Jerry Walter. I'm a sales leader for digital experience at IBM. With me today, I have my colleague, John Roslowski, who is a digital experience specialist at IBM, and Uzman Memon, who is a managing partner, co-founder, and one of the principals at Streebo. So we all know that mobile adoption is on the rise. We see customers more and more demanding for this, and they're looking for more ways to engage and create positive omni-channel digital experiences. So companies like yours are looking beyond just the traditional experiences, and you have to create more personalized omni-channel experiences to reach different audiences and engage them on their terms and at their own convenience. So the next 45 minutes, we're going to cover Rise and Mobilize, the rise in the mobile and also mobile applications, and the benefits of moving to omni-channel experience. So we're going to cover, we're going to share lessons learned, and we're going to advise you on overcoming the migration challenges, and also share, most importantly, some success stories that IBM and Streebo have had with our customers. And as you can see from the last bullet, Streebo is going to make an exceptional offer to create a mobile application for your company from one of your legacy or web applications. So please stay tuned for the details. Now I'm going to hand over to my colleague, John Roslowski.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you, Jerry, for that introduction. As Jerry mentioned, my name is John Roslowski. I, too, am a digital experience sales leader, and I kind of wanted to take you on a brief little journey here, kind of provide you an understanding of what is this thing called a digital experience, how does it impact this mobile app business, and where the two converge and where the value is. So take a step back for a second and ask yourself the question, what applications actually run your business? I mean, is it individual website, or is it things like structured applications that come from SAP or come from Oracle, or even for some of us that remember from the green screen applications in 3270s, as well as some other monstrosities that we've created over time to bring together information, to even some of the new things like Salesforce. These are the things that run the companies. These are the things that users interact with on a regular basis, right? But if you think about it, what our viewers, our users are asking for is, don't just have me interact with an individual application. Allow me to now interact with a solution, whether it's a bill pay solution, a customer management solution, a product and services content solution, a customer support solution. And now all of a sudden, when it comes to some of the apps that are being written out there, the same thing is being asked of it. No longer is just a single app designed to work with just a single application. The customer or the viewer has a much higher expectation. And when you think of that digital experience, as the IT professional that has to try to put this together, or even as a line of business person and trying to understand what are some of these components to that digital experience, it's all about building that framework, right? Or leveraging a framework where now I can bring together content, applications, processes, right? All of the structured things that are available on the back end within my company, as well as things that are available outside my company. The piece that makes this integration and aggregation process unique is the people aspect. Because I, as the viewer, am now the one that I'm interacting with the content, I'm interacting with the applications, I'm interacting with the processes. In some cases, I'm just filling out things. In other cases, I may be creating some of the content. But at the end of the day, what I'd like to be able to do is to provide, the content, the applications, and the processes targeted, excuse me, to a specific audience in a very highly personalized manner. So if you think about it, what are some of those sources? Well, they could come from anywhere. It's applications that you may have written. It's applications that you may have acquired in the past. It's content that's available inside your firewall or someplace outside in the cloud. It's some of the different services that are available, through the cloud or through some of these consumer feeds, right? This is specifically, right, how to bring, these are some of the different services and assets that you want to be able to bring together as part of that rich digital experience. Ultimately, what you're trying to accomplish is pretty straightforward, right? As an IT organization or even somebody within line of business who has this responsibility, how do I rapidly deliver an exceptional experience? How do I now take all that content, all those processes, all those applications, and target viewers as individuals? How do I then take a look at what's working and what isn't and why? How can I fix it? How do I optimize it? And then start that cycle all over again. Right? This is called the customer life cycle, and this is extremely valuable. Right? So when I was building all of my browser-based applications and services, this is pretty straightforward. Right? This is something we've been doing, at least from an IBM perspective, for the last 10 plus years. But something has changed. Okay? All of a sudden, our viewers have completely different devices that are different shapes and sizes, some that we haven't figured out yet, right? And they're buying them themselves. IT is no longer providing these devices, right? How do we handle this, right? How do we handle, as IT experts and as IT developers, how do we handle some of these changes? How do I now adopt some of those things that I've been doing within a browser technology to be able to accommodate this type of a platform, right? Should I create one-off applications? Should I create one-off solutions? Are those, one-off solutions unique to each of these individual components, right? That's always a challenge, right? What we're going to present today is an opportunity to try something a little bit different. And if you think that, we did some research around this with the help of some of our business partners. And this mobile conquest is huge. Everyone is asking for the ability to access applications, access data, be able to control things, right? Not only from an employee perspective, but also from a customer perspective. I mean, case in point, online banking. Another case in point, how do you interact with your telcos, right? Or some of your utilities. These are some of the expectations right now in the enterprise. And these expectations continue to grow, right? Customers are now being very specific about what they want and how much they want to control. There's this concept of self-service, right? How do I now do this? How do I not have to deal with the, quote, human on the other side? And that's in some cases of benefit to both sides of the equations, because from a corporate perspective, that lowers my cost of transaction, that lowers my cost of sale. Right, from the other side of the fence, the customer side of the fence, honestly, at 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm looking up kind of my bank statements and some of my financial information, I honestly don't expect somebody to be there that I could call to ask questions about. I want to be able to do all of this myself in a self-service model. Right? These are some of the demands that are being placed on companies, on lines of business, and specifically on the IT organization. And this omni-channel approach is amazing because it does address a number of the challenges. The bigger benefits are, again, faster communication, higher employee satisfaction, higher profits, productivity gains. I mean, not that we're working not enough hours in the day, but it's one of those, I'm stuck in traffic. And yes, I know you shouldn't be texting, but I do this. I'm stuck in traffic. The light's red. My foot's on the brake. Heck, I even put the car in neutral. I'll quickly go and check for emails and messages. I typically don't respond, but at least I'm aware of what's going on out there. These are some of the things. This is how people work these days. Or you happen to be standing on a corner and you actually see an interesting new business. Right? Do you walk in? At that moment in time, you don't have time. but you get on the internet and you start doing some research around it. These are the habits that are now being developed. It's that immediacy of information. It's that thirst for knowledge at that moment in time. And if I as a company don't respond to that, I may be losing out on some future business. This whole value proposition around the DX portfolio is this concept of a two-speed architecture. Right, we've looked at it from the perspective where historically, and I showcase some of those applications, we've got some structured system of record applications that are running on the back end. You know, these are my financial systems, my accounting systems, my ERP systems, my CRM systems. There's structure, there's process, there's format. They're the ones that run my company. Exposing those to this new digital experience of this omni-channel is always a challenge. So you now have to look at, is there an intermediary, or can somebody in this process play intermediary? And that intermediary allows me to quickly take some of this workflow and some of the process and some of the information in self-service and share it with that new and extended audience in a very seamless way, right? Without having to rebuild a whole new application or reinvest and rip and replace what I've put in up to now. I mean, a quick example of this, and I spoke briefly about your banking experience. Rewind the clock back to 2005. One of our customers was Fifth Third Bank. They actually were one of the first ones to create that banking experience, right? And again, taking advantage of simple browser technology, they put together a web page, right, with a with internet banking, so you had specific username and password authentication, and you were able to do some pretty interesting things. And again, for that time, this was top notch. This was best of breed, right? And it was optimized for one, perhaps maybe two browsers, Internet Explorer and Netscape. Excuse me. Now fast forward to a bank, Jyske Bank, right, in Denmark. They've now created a completely different experience. As a matter of fact, they sat back and over about the last year transformed how they interact with their customers through some of these different experiences. Why? Because all of a sudden the viewers there, the customers there are a lot more demanding. So to be able to do something as simple as at 8:30 in the morning on my commute to work, I want to look at what other services, what other accounts does my bank offer. And ironically, that bank now tailored some of those offerings to me. Why? Because I may already be a customer. And if I am already a customer, it already knows about me. If I'm not a customer, then it's got to hope for the best, right? But in the meantime, on my commute to work, on my handheld device, I do some of the investigation. I get to the office, I have a different device. I now start doing a little bit more research. I dig in a little further. When I get home in the evening, I take out my tablet. On the tablet, I kind of take a look at what the social realm is saying about this specific bank or some of these services, right? And later on that day, on that same tablet, I decide to submit an application. Great. Again, now the wonderful world of the back-end processes kicks into place. And hopefully by the time I get up the next morning and I'm ready to head to work, all of a sudden I get to see some of these new applications already available as part of my banking relationship. These are the expectations, to be able to move from device to device, to be able to take a transaction that starts maybe 12 or 24 hours earlier and be able to continue through the process. And without asking the customer to either have to relearn a completely different navigation model or a user interface. This is what Jyske Bank did, and this was how they designed this specific capability on their websites. Another great example of completely transforming how they interact with not only their employees, but also with their customers. I mean, Pacific Life, right? A wonderful financial institution, has been around for a while, very conservative, very low-key, but very successful as a company. What they were looking for is, how do I extend my relationships in a more modern way, right? How do I now extend to a second level of high-wealth customers? Now, the good news is they've had all the applications on the back end, mostly written in .NET, And now all of a sudden they were trying to figure out what's the better way to extend this out to a tablet platform. Because their primary goal was, give me the ability to educate my agents on what to sell and how to sell it. Now turn that around and make that education process available in a slightly different way to the actual customer. So now my agent can turn the iPad around and let the customer do some of the quick research and some of the learning and to showcase some of the options. Let's bring up the application right then and there, right? Create a proposal specifically for the client, allow them to electronically sign it with their finger, and then to be able to track the process. This application was called Prime, and it was extremely successful for Pacific Life. It brought out a lot of excitement with the agents and then the customers going through that experience, because there were some of the younger ones, right, adopted this without too many problems. Did Pacific Life have to rewrite any of their back-end systems? No. They were able to reuse what they had and be able to expose it through this mobile technology. It was an amazing story. In a nutshell, this digital experience from IBM allows you to do some amazing things, right? Starting out with any types of applications you have in-house, extending it out to some of the mobile services that are available, to be able to create, aggregate, integrate, and personalize, right, some of these applications, as well as be able to optimize some of them. This is what allows you to bring these things together. And I can have customer-facing experiences and I can have employee-facing experiences, or actually you can have something that combines the two. And it's interesting because you may ask the question, well, how successful have you been with this, John, right? What have customers done? Well, we actually did a little bit of research and found, at least with the IDC, that there have been a number of amazing success stories that our customers have dealt with. I mean, in a nutshell, for the customers that the IDC reviewed as part of the study, a majority of them saw on average of a 6.6 month payback period, right? They saw a 5-year ROI of 502%. There was some amazing productivity gains for the business users, right, for the actual end users, for the IT staff, and for infrastructure costs, right? This digital experience is a framework that leverages your existing applications and your existing investments and ties them all together and provides a rich omni-channel experience. Now, what I'd like to do is turn this over to my friend Usman, and I'd like Usman to take you through more of the specifics. I mean, Streebo has been a wonderful partner to work with. They've done some amazing things with some amazing customers, and they've got some really cool and innovative ways of solving some of these business and mobility problems. So Usman, can I turn it over to you, my friend?
Sure. Thank you, John. Both, for giving us a high-level overview on the IBM platform and the warm introduction that you gave to Streebo. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Usman Mimon, and I'm one of the principals and co-founder of Streebo. And as John introduced us, we are enterprise mobility and a digital solutions partner of IBM, and we specialize in helping organizations create their digital presence, be it on desktop, be it on web applications, be it on mobile. No matter where your end user is going to try to touch you from, we help organizations build that experience. And what the list of awards, as you can see in this overview slide, is almost like a testament of what the kind of work that our team has done over the last few years. What I'll share with you in this second half of the presentation, which will spend about another 10-15 minutes, is our key learnings from a lot of these real-world implementations. I'll share with you both things that worked and things that did not work, right? Where did we bleed? So in a sense, share our learning experiences over the last few years as we rolled out a digital presence for some of the largest companies in the world. So if you go to the next slide, you'll have to help me with the transition. One of my favorite stories is American National Insurance. And in the old world, American National Insurance had just a web application which was an agent facing. These guys are headquartered in Galveston, Texas, into life insurance, and they are into PNC, a host of insurance products. And just like a lot of the life insurance companies, they had both captive agents, which were their employees of ANICO, and then they had independent agents. And they started their journey on web applications and desktops, and as with the advent of mobile devices, as they were looking to transform their organization, both IBM and Streebo partnered with them to help them through that transition. In the new world, today over 50,000 agents walk around with tablets, with smartphones, and help the customer, educate the customer with the product lines that they have, which means, in the insurance world, they call them creating illustrations, creating quotations, to all the way to service provisioning, to policy provisioning, to policy servicing. The entire gamut of both sales and service functionality have been successfully migrated to a mobile world, right? And this application was powered by Digital Experience platform, and it is integrated with a host of backends that were at ANICO. So ANICO was able to both leverage the existing infrastructure, the legacy applications that were in place, and yet embrace the future. And as you can see from the business results, a single code base was driving the multi-touch point, multi-channel experience for ANICO. And today they have reduced their cycle by over sales cycle by over 75%, increased their agent productivity, thus increasing both their revenue, the top line, and reduce their cost, which helps them with the bottom line as well. My next story is again from insurance company. This is Sun Life Insurance, Birla Sun Life Insurance. Again very similar to what we did at ANICO, where the old world was simply desktop web applications, and in the new world it is a multi-channel application. Here over 100,000 independent agents today are using this mobile app to do a host of functions and servicing their customers. Again, single code base, a lot of notifications, a lot of analytics built in, social features built in that allows both, because the insurance agency, for example, have a lot of turnover as well. So right from training the new agents to helping them with pitching the right product line, educating the customer with use of iPads and such. Again, this customer has seen both an increase in revenue and decrease in their costs. And essentially, they have the biggest cost saving that this customer got was as they got rid of a lot of real estate offices, because now it's essentially the iPad is essentially their office, and we are moving both the front office and a lot of back office functionality, onto the mobile devices. One of their favorite functionality when we were doing the agent, we recently helped Sun Life Insurance even train their agents at one of the conferences, and one of the most popular feature there was actually the ability to actually take the documents of these their end customers, take a picture of those and submit it, right? Again, in the old world, these documents used to be scanned, used to be sent over to the headquarters over emails, and there they would actually go in through the OCR into the document management system. In the new world, in the mobile devices, now they get scanned or they get get taken pictures of, and again it reduced their customer engagement cycle, starting from quotation to policy issuance was reduced by over 30 to 38%. One such additional customer, the last story that I want to share with you, and maybe John, if you don't mind going into a web browser and showcasing, this is an external application that I want to share with you, RS Investments, again a financial services company based in San Francisco. The old world was simply a web application. In the new world, they actually rolled out a multi-channel application, which means again the site that is pulling up is both for the prospects of RS Investments, so it actually helps the marketing department generate new leads, find new customers, and at the same time their advisors that actually advise a lot of these end customers can actually go in and self-service a lot of their customers. And as John is as you can see, as it reduces the browser side, The site is responsive. A lot of content. The content is now controlled by the line of business. In the old world, it was all static content. And any time the company wanted to do a change, they would actually have to involve the IT. In the new world, the marketing department controls the complete mobile responsive design site. And a lot of the applications again are pre-integrated. So right from looking at statements, looking at financial prospects, all those things. Once an agent logs in, it's a role-based application. So yet another example. This is a customer-facing example. So for those of you who are on the call and would want to learn more, you can actually pull up the engagements..com on any of your browsers on your mobile phone, and you can actually review the site and see what kind of work some of the leading financial services companies are doing today with the digital experience. And we have a range of other stories, starting right from American Express to Citibank to some of the largest financial services companies in the world today are using this platform. So with that as the background, here over the next 10 minutes, I'll share with you that 5 key lessons that we have learned over the course of these last few years as we actually rolled out a lot of these applications. And my number one lesson that I always share with my customer is security. Right? Every day we open up the news and we hear about some site getting hacked, some account getting hacked, and we also believe that this is only tip of the iceberg. We only hear about the largest breaches and the ones that actually get to the press, or ones where compliance dictates that they make an announcement to the FTC. However, a lot of other companies, their systems get compromised almost daily, and they almost go unreported or sometimes even undetected. Right? So so as a lot of my customers get rolling with this digital experience journey, or building mobile apps or mobile enabled websites or web applications, we talk about to think of security not as an afterthought, but something that you have to think from day one. Right? And with the mobile device, the problem just gets more convoluted. Before, in the old world, in the web application world, it was the principle was simple. You put in a DMZ, you put in your core systems behind your second firewall, and there were some thumb rules that were in place, which over the years had matured, and the model had gotten more secure. But with a variety of mobile devices, with the different operating systems that you run on, with a lot of our code of your core application getting packed on the mobile app, right? Remember, in the web application world, guys, the only thing that would access the system was, there was a thin client, which is our browser. But unlike that, in the mobile app world, a lot of the code actually goes on the device. A lot of data actually gets stored on the device, for offline access and such. So the security paradigm has shifted, and it is definitely, something which is more convoluted, more involved. What happens if your customer loses the device? What happens if your sales agent, gets his device compromised? So not only the device needs to be secured, but also, so there has to be controls both on the device, on the offline storage. There have to be controls put in on the server side, and that's why some of the largest companies in the world actually trust IBM, the number one platform, secured because of security, right? Because they know that if something goes wrong, they have an 800 number to call, and there'll be some of the top engineers who will actually work in and help them if and when that happens, or more importantly, IBM has best practices put in place to ensure that they actually something like that never happens, right? So if you put in the right controls, right processes, right practices, we coach a lot of our customers as to how to ensure that the house is beautiful, it looks great, yet it is secured and it is scalable. So number one lesson learned, think about security day one. My lesson number two is, when you go into your app design and development or your multi-channel application design and development, pay emphasis on user experience. Right? We all know that Apple actually won the battle on iPhone and tablets, and they are the market leaders because they put laser focus on building a great user experience. Right? They put users at the center of the product line rather than the other way around. all of us who are actually in charge of building web applications or mobile applications have to be as passionate about delivering our own product, right? So pay a lot of attention to user experience, and both user interface and user experience. And keep in mind, I'm calling it out as two separate fields, because user interface is more graphics, that is more colors, that is what kind of fonts I'm using. But user experience is more, what is my flow of my application? How many clicks do I have to do in order to get to a particular functionality, right? And even though we say UI UX is one thing, essentially it's two different fields with very definite science behind it. So invest in that early on. Bring in good visual designers, or hire a consulting company or a digital agency that will actually have good user interface folks. Who actually people who actually understand user experience as a science. So we advise a lot of our customers on UI UX. Right, that would be one when you are in that design development. Second is think omni-channel, right? A lot of my customers initially started out with that mistake where they're like, okay, well, this is my code for the web application. Oh, now we need to roll out a iOS app. Well, here's my native code for my iOS. Oh, now I need to support Android as well. And before they knew, they had multiple code bases, siloed code bases, cutting across a range of devices, right? And then every time the business would ask for one feature, you are making changes in 3, 4, 5 different, areas of code, or actually silos of code, and keeping them in sync becomes a nightmare. So, and it becomes cost prohibitive. So even though you're thinking omni-channel, you have to think or pick technology like the IBM Digital Experience platform that allows you to do a single code, allows you to take a single code base, yet create a multi-channel experience, right? So build omni-channel experience, but with single code base. And give the control to your line of business, right? Especially if you're an IT executive and you're looking for technology solutions, you have to look for solutions, like the IBM Digital Experience, like what we did at RS Investments, where, hey, I want to change the content. I want to launch a new campaign. I want to, make some changes in the forms of the application. You have to pick tools that allow control to the line of business. Because if, their application, if they can easily change that, it will allow them to experiment and try innovative ideas to in turn again, drive more revenue or decrease the cost. Right? And of course, you have to pick a solution that is scalable, that will allow you to scale as your user base grows. Pick a solution that will allow you to, go localization or globalization if that is one of your requirements. And companies that haven't thought about these UI, UX, they haven't thought about omni-channel, we have seen in the real world that they end up, spending exorbitant amount of, resources, yet are only delivering a B quality product. You do not want to be caught in that cycle. So that was my lesson number 2, right? Design your app correctly and develop it with the right best practices with single code base. My third key lesson that I want to share with my audience today is testing. Right? Again, in the old world, all of you who have been around doing web applications for a number of years, like we have. Maybe my customers will come in and say, I'll ask, well, how many browsers are you going to support? Well, they'll say maybe IE, Chrome. Back in the day, there used to be a lot of Firefox, and they would give us 2 or 3 different versions. But that was about it, right? If we were building a desktop application, we had a controlled client. And the thumb rule back in the day was, well, if I'm going to allocate 1,000 hours for doing the application development, maybe I'll allocate 300 hours for testing, right? So 30%, 25% was the thumb rule to do application testing. Not in this new world. In the new world that we live today, we have a variety of devices and a variety of operating systems on these devices. And not even just variety of operating system, even different flavors of operating system. Android alone has 16 different flavors that are used by, some very large organizations. And if you continue to do the testing the old-fashioned way, you'll get burned, right? Like some of my clients did, where the cost of the testing would either equal or sometimes even exceed the cost of development. Imagine, allocating 1,000 hours of development and then allocating another 1,200 hours of testing, because you have to ensure that the application that I build out actually works on 12 to 16 different devices. So think automated testing. Look for tools or platform like the IBM Digital Experience and IBM Digital Platform, along with a host of other products like Mobile First, allows you that capability to do automated testing. So essentially, we build an application, we mark the number of devices that we need to support in, and then we run a whole battery of tests. It actually gives you a report on the application failed on this particular OS or this particular device, thus reducing your overall time to market, and thus, optimizing the resources that you actually need to roll out a robust application, right? So this is one of the key lessons learned. Automate your testing. No matter which platform you pick, no matter which vendor you pick, ask your vendor, how do you do your testing? How automated it is? Because at some point, you have to maybe take ownership of the application, or maybe, spend more as you continue to build and enhance your application. And this cost, if not thought up front, is going to crush you. It's going to throw your budget off. Okay. This is my fourth lesson that I want to share. And I've seen customers do this mistake again and again, where they will budget, they will allocate budget for design, they will allocate budget for development, they will allocate, they're smart, they'll allocate budget for testing and, start doing automated testing, and then, they roll out a great product, and then there you go, one email, an executive will send out an email, there'll be, URL, but that's about it. And then they expect that, people are going to give them 5-star ratings on the App Store, or they're going to start using this, app right away, or the application right away. Guess what? You'll be in for a surprise. You have to make a conscious effort to both launch and help your end users adopt your product, right? And what are some of the tactical activities? What we have done that we have been seen successful is, for instance, we'll do a specific, campaign around the app launch. We'll do specific collaterals around the application launch. We'll build specific user guides and governance models. So if it's an intranet that you might be rolling out, you want to go educate your end users of your intranet. Even though you might have built a mobile application, you might have built a multi-channel responsive design application, but if your expectation is that your users are going to simply, pick it up and start embracing it, you might be in for a surprise, because, this is a change, right? So you have to make a conscious effort for your change management. That was one of our lessons learned, right? So, we divided almost like into 4 quadrants. You make your end user aware about your product, you intend to acquire their attention span, or, acquire the customers for your application or the product that you're launching, and then you have to constantly measure it, analytics, right? And then with that repeated analytics and measuring, you eventually grow your user base and help your end user adopt your product, listen for that feedback, enhance it, and that's what, makes a great product and a great launch. One of my last lessons that I want to share with you is analytics. Right? Be it, I have a 6th grader, be it, if I don't look at her, scores, I would never know what subject she's not doing well. I run a company. If I'm not looking at the KPIs or the financial matrix or the, other key matrix of my organization, I don't know where I'm going. If you're a pilot, you have to look at your meter readings. So launching a product, be it a web application, be it a multi-channel application, be it a mobile application, you have to measure. You have to look at analytics, right? And just putting in Google tags and Google Analytics, that's not enough, right? That's 2012. Today, the companies that are winning are actually doing digital intelligence, right? That's the new wave, where not only you do analytics, you grab that data, but then you essentially combine that data with a lot of other data from your social, from, the different, channels that you might be targeting it. And then studying and understanding the data across these analytics, across these spectrums will actually give you insight into what the customer is really doing or what your end user is really doing with your application. And only if you measure, only if you attempt to dissect what they are doing, you'll be able to go in, understand their behavior, and then go in and improve the application. And that constant cycle of improvement, the companies that have adopted that, we have seen in our experience that it is only those clients that eventually become successful with, with a great product. So think analytics and think digital intelligence, right? Not the old school analytics. So those were some of our key learnings, right? Just to summarize, think security day one, build a great application that has a great user interface, make sure it has a single code base, otherwise, the cost of maintaining the app will be prohibitively expensive. think automated testing to reduce your time to market, make a conscious budget, allocate a budget and make a conscious effort for launch and adoption. And lastly, measure what you have rolled out. Do that analytics, right? Those were some of our 5 key lessons that we have learned as we rolled out hundreds of these digital experiences for some of the largest customers in the world. So, as special, we have a lot of these pre-built applications, Streebo and IBM, be it for a specific domain, be it for banking, be it for insurance, and a lot of these are mobile enabled. And what IBM and Streebo has launched a campaign, we are actually helping our customers, for those of you who actually have a legacy app, be it a green screen, be it a VB app, be it a J2E app or .NET application, and if you're looking to extend it to mobile, if you're looking to modernize and roll out a new application, IBM and Streebo can help you extend that experience with no cost, right? As far as it's put it on IBM Digital Experience platform, then we essentially we'll make the investment on all the professional services, and there'll be no charge, especially on the professional services. And the applications are available both on premise, and these multi-channel applications can be put on the cloud, right? So essentially, it's extending what you have today to a host of new devices, and embedding more modern features like social, analytics, mobility, and so on and so forth, right? And essentially, the customer simply pays for that application as a service. So essentially, you're just paying a small fee for maintenance and support once your application is mobile and it's actually made multi-channel, and we port it to the IBM Digital Experience platform. And companies that have taken this journey with us have again managed to leverage all that they have put in place, right? It's not like we are starting from scratch. So we'll leverage everything, all the legacy infrastructure that you have in place. But because we port the applications to the Digital Experience platform, it comes in with a host of other features. And then as a customer, again, you could choose to just use that app as a service on premise or on cloud, or you could choose to buy the solution and take on the maintenance and support internally as well. So as a special, we are running this for this particular webinar. We are running it for those audiences that might be interested. We can help you start out by initially doing a digital assessment, right? So if you like some of the stories that you have seen today, if you like some of the customer case studies, and if you have a similar problem where you're exploring the idea of these, I own a bunch of applications and I have to take some of these and I have to modernize or give a facelift to some of these applications, we can help you with at least the assessment as the first next step, right? And as part of the assessment, we essentially come in, we do the current state analysis, we help you with the future state analysis, we'll actually help you build a kind of almost like a future user interface, what it would look like, and help you build a roadmap, right? And for the attendees today, we'll waive all charges and we'll do the